Hey, folks, let me tell you what happened in court on the 7th, because here's the notice. We got it yesterday on the 8th in Saturday's mail. So they had no intention of telling us about the hearing because they didn't mail it in time. But anyway, I did show up, and I brought these two ladies right here, Sherry and Eileen, to the hearing. So I introduced these two ladies to the judge, and she said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Flynn, you're the only plaintiff." And I said, "No, Sherry submitted her paperwork 6 times. So I can show you the case if you want. But it's a complicated situation. There I am, the only plaintiff. And it's very important that you listen to what I'm about to say." So I went up to the judge. I said, "Sherry, come sit in the plaintiff row up in the front. Hey, Eileen," they're terrified. They won't go. So, okay. I say, "Take off your hats." They had all these electrodes on their heads from Havana syndrome tests that took 4 days. So they came to court and they went back to the hospital. They came from the hospital. They went back to the hospital. It's very important that Connecticut listen to this video, okay? So I proceed to tell the judge that the two ladies have biometric chips in their vaginas, and they are electronically tortured, and that is their testimony. And they said a few words from the back row of the courthouse, and Ozales, who's the judge, I asked her to recuse herself over her involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? Jeffrey Epstein's trial in Norwalk. He owns 40 buildings in South Norwalk. Ozales heard the case. Judge Lee denied the appeal. Okay, they protected a pedophile. I said, "You need to recuse yourself. You need to retire. You need to resign." She said, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, I said, "Okay, Your Honor, look in the screen and tell me what Exhibit 1 is." She said no. Her computer was off. I said, "So you didn't prepare for our hearing today?" I said, "Why are we here?" I said, "I didn't even get noticed. Here's the notice. It came on Saturday, which was yesterday. The hearing was Friday. And here's multiple decisions of Ozales right here. Take a look on the document reader. Entered 126, filed 325, order 729. Motion for a waiver, order Ozales. Okay? So I go in the courtroom. I say these two women have electronic torture victims. She's like, "Oh, these cases have already been heard." I said, "No, this is the only injury case I have ever filed in my entire life, so it hasn't been heard, no." And if you look at the transcripts of many of the other cases, here's the Judge Heller case, okay? That's the transcript. What does it say? It says, basically, that they stole 6 NASDAQ workstations and they executed 500,000 felonies. This is Judge Lee and Judge Adams and Judge Gennario, Judge Provader, Judge Heller, and Judge Jacobs. Here's Judge Heller's transcript, okay? It goes on to talk about the detective from Stanford threatening me, saying, "If you don't promise not to sue me, I won't arrest you. I have a warrant for your arrest, and I'll tear it up." So this is extortion in the courtroom in front of the judge. Okay? This also happened with Provader. I do have the transcript. Provader worked for Larrabee. Okay? Larrabee was police chief. Larrabee put a hit on me. Okay? They used a confidential informant, the same guy who just got arrested for stealing $85,000 from the confidential informant fund. So here we go. They keep hiring a guy named Richard Filippelli to kill people. Okay? He was hired to kill a cop named Lamb. He was hired to kill a cop named Dealey. It's all in the transcripts. So then there's another case, Jacobs. Scaramella was a cop in East Haven hired to point a gun at my head and threaten me that if I sue East Haven, I would be shot in the back of the head. So here we go. We have cops working for the judges in the Criminal Practice Commission. We have a transcript from the Criminal Practice Commission saying that you can stalk Mr. Flynn's 5-year-old. You can go to Boy Scouts and his tutor, and you can go to daycare, hang outside, scare the shit out of a 5-year-old, and it's all connected to all these other transcripts. So when you put it all together, it is criminal racketeering to threaten plaintiffs. And now, Andre Caillo's claim got threatened. Who else? Lindell got threatened. The Magliari attorney got threatened by the DA. So the DA is surveilling me. It's in the transcripts. It's in the police reports denied when they falsely arrested me. Tamaccio, Hallstrom. And it goes back to Richard Colangelo, Chief State's Attorney, who also threatened me, also said, you're going to be arrested if you don't promise not to sue me. Well, I sued him like 150 times. I sued all these people. NF Clearing, Bank America, Fleet Bank Boston, Fleet Securities, U.S. Clearing, Fiserv Securities, Computer Shares. All these cases are on the record. So I've been putting everything on the record, going to the hearings, paying for the transcripts, $7 a page, folks. Quite a bit of money. Let's get back to what happened on Friday, August 7th, it being the 9th. Today is the 9th. Tomorrow is the 10th. Today is my dad's 90th birthday party. Please tell me why the FBI invited themselves. Because when they show up, I'll take a picture. Okay? No big deal, right? No big deal, right? Wrong. Okay? They offered us $100 million. The judges all know it. I put it on the record. Ozales knows it. Ozales is perfectly okay. I confronted her in the courtroom. I said, look at Exhibit 2. Tell me what it says. She says, sorry, I don't have my computer on. I'm like, so you didn't prepare for the case. You didn't prepare for this. You didn't prepare for this. Okay. And when you look at the law, which is right here, immunity requires proof that the municipal defendants and should have been aware of a defective condition caused by the claimed injury. Okay, so the judge has no immunity, folks, because she should have known, but she didn't prepare, and she admitted it on the record. So we have lots of evidence all over the place. You know, everywhere you look, volumes of it, 100 cases of evidence. So here we go. The reason for this video is that women have been implanted with biometric chipping in their vaginas, okay, and they are being electronically tortured. And we have a woman, judge, named Ozales, who would not recognize them as plaintiffs in their own case when they did file appearances. So the clerks are like, listen, Johnny, I gave in the stuff you gave me, but it just disappeared. Really? So Ed O'Gara is stealing the evidence, stealing you can look at all the documents I have. I'll go over there and show you 100 envelopes of them sending me my stuff back without processing it. And you can look in the screen. Okay, look in the screen. U.S. Senator Blumenthal, non-appearing. Okay, Blumenthal's assistants are confidential informants with the FBI. They have top security clearance. They are on the Criminal Practice Commission. They are on the Media Judicial Media Commission. They are on the, look on the screen. Here's Andre Bermudez Hallstrom. Here's Karen Cassidy, Andrew Drew, Drew Edwards, Keely Walcott, Mike Genovese. Mike Genovese was in the hearing this week, did not allow me in. Mike Genovese here. So what'd they do? They went after my computer guy who fixes these computers. They tackled him in the Best Buy parking lot and broke his spine. Then he had a surgery. Not only did he get tackled in Norwalk, when he went home to Stamford, he got tackled a second time. Now there's a second spinal injury and a second spinal surgery, and now they want the third one. So the doctor is the same doctor that framed Sam Magliari. So Sam made a campaign contribution to my campaign, and they went after him. Okay, we'll figure that out. Who's this? A psychologist for Dumas. Who's this? A psychiatrist for Dumas. Public Service Trust Commission. Big problem. They appoint the DA, Andre Bermudez Hallstrom. Tamaccio is also served in the Stamford Superior Court related to this case right here, right now. Tamaccio and the marshals control the chip in my head, the biometric chip. So I say, Your Honor, these two ladies have chips in their vaginas and they're being electronically tortured. Oh, Mr. Flynn, we're not here to discuss that. Oh, no? Yes, we are, because, hey, we weren't even noticed. These ladies came from Florida and Oklahoma to testify. They are terrified. So what's going on here? Connecticut is chipping women in their vaginas. I hope everyone knows. And then, interestingly enough, if you come to this computer and you input the, let me show you, inbox, buildings and carports. Ready? Eileen came to court. This is a picture of her. Okay? This is her report. Imaging. You ready? I gave this to the court multiple times. She worked for the DOD as an employee, and then since 2011, she's been tortured. And if you go down, you can see how many semiconductors are inside this lady. Her right ear, her right neck, center forehead, top of the head, left ear, above the heart, right side of my groin. Got it? Lower back, upper back, right lower back, center buttocks. Okay? Torture. Now, keep going. That's where they are. You see this chip in her vagina? You see this one in her butt? That's what's electrocuting her. Here you go. Her scan of the radiation. Radiation. The red. Do you understand radiation? Okay, fine. Go through the facts. Yeah, here's her frequency right here. Okay? There's her frequency. Do you understand? Now, when you go to this computer and you plug that frequency into the FCC, by the way, this victim just died. She's 94 years old. Another victim dead. These are the photographs of our dinner. You know, we went out to Stamford. Drinks were $22 each. Isn't that awesome? There we are with the girls, okay? When you look at the evidence right here, and you plug those numbers into the FCC website, this is the website, okay? wireless2.fcc.gov. Plug this frequency into this website, and it tells you who in Connecticut is trafficking this woman. It is the Media Commission of the state of Connecticut. So when you look, okay, back to here, not the scan. You go back. Let me show you the other evidence. Okay, so here's another one, very important. This is her testimony. This is from the Fusion Center. Affidavit regarding DHS FBI Fusion Center domestic terrorism. Okay? April 2015 through November, Stockton, Tallahassee. Okay. NSA harassment. This is evidence in the case. Evidence in the case, folks, about the women that are tortured through their vaginas. Here is the nonlinear junction test. Eileen, okay? You ready? Lady in the courtroom with the hat on. Cosmic clarity connection, okay? Frontal lobe, lower abdomen, right knee, left region apex, upper abdomen, okay? You understand where she's chipped? Now, this is critically important. You plug these numbers into this website, and that's what comes up. NATO, the DOD, the U.S. Air Force, another one, another chip, another frequency in her lower abdomen, defense telemetry and command. Okay? DOD, DHS. That's Chris Murphy. That's U.S. Senator Murphy, who is a defendant in this case. I can show you his name. He's one of the 19. Go down and read it. Raytheon, Connecticut. Lockheed Martin, Connecticut, is tracking this woman, okay, through her frontal lobe in her brain. She has a chip in her brain run by Johns Hopkins Laboratories, MIT, Lincoln, Nebraska. Do you understand? Okay. U.S. Army is controlling her right knee. NATO controlling her right knee. NASA controlling her left apex region. DOD, upper abdomen. Who's that? Caltech, SpaceX, Boeing. She's standing in Connecticut. Her frequency is plugged into the machine, and it shows that the Los Alamos National Library in Oak Ridge and Honeywell Aerospace is leasing the chip. Where's the chip? Upper abdomen. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm saying I explained this to the judge. She didn't care. I said, did you look at Exhibit 189? No. Did you look at Exhibit 190? No. Oh, well, these ladies have chips in their vagina. Really? And who's leasing that? Lockheed Martin. Oh, Georgia Tech. For DARPA. Look, left posterior, DARPA, DOD. Occipital region, DOD. What the hell? Hold on. Defense telemetry, DOD, lower lumbar, right hamstring, U.S. Army, NATO, U.S. Popliteal fossa region. Okay, that's the frequency. Level 3 Harris, Connecticut. Level 3. Got it? Do you know who that is? Lockheed Martin. Okay. John Hopkins, MIT, Lockheed Martin, U.S. Air Force, NSA. Okay? I have the same thing going on. Okay? Mine are different. DOD, DHS. Mine is CISA. Election Integrity. Run by Chris Murphy. Chris Murphy put a chip in me, and I'm emitting a frequency to CISA. And the other chip, I have one in my clavicle, is issued and paid for by the U.S. Marshals in the federal courthouse in Bridgeport, Connecticut, right next to Richard Blumenthal's office. So they are electronically harassing me. So I hope this video explains, keep going, right knee, into chin, FCC, DOD, Public Safety and Infrastructure Telemetry, University of Toronto. Guess who that is? Select Therapeutics. Guess who that is? Those are the stocks that Judge Provader, Heller, and Jacobs stole. Select Therapeutics is partners with the University of Toronto, Hospital for Sick Kids, the largest hospital medical complex in North America in Toronto, the Toronto Innovations Foundation. Look, University of Toronto is a partner with the judges that stole the stocks in our accounts. You can't make this up. I own 80,000 shares of Select Therapeutics. It was $8. It was stolen. There are hundreds of cross trades in Select Therapeutics, stealing it from my aunt, my mother, who died in 2016, my father, and my partner in the Navy, who is a partner in the brokerage firm. So here you go. Caltech, DOD, upper abdomen, DHS, pubic region, DHS. Excuse me? Georgia Tech. Temporomandibular joint region, federal, FCC Part 90. DOD, USF. Amateur Radio Labs, MIT. Here we go. Motorola, Georgia Tech. Popliteal fossa region, right scapula region, broadcast and low band, broadcast allocations, federal adjacent. What does that mean? Well, here we go. Eileen has chips in her vagina being tortured by U.S. Senator Chris Murphy, U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal. They have leased the frequencies that are targeting Connecticut females when they're in the state, all controlled by Hearst Media, ABC, CBS, NBC, WFSB. All these stations are tracking women who are torturing their vaginas. So let's make this clear. Chris Murphy is fucking with Elizabeth vagina. Chris Murphy is fucking with Sherry's vagina and Eileen. Now, when Eileen and Sherry don't complain, okay, the torture is less. But what happened at Whiting was a result of there was a murder in the case. The woman was beat to death, blunt force trauma to the head, found in her hotel in Danbury. And Danbury is a center of human trafficking in the state of Connecticut. What we said to the judge this time was, there's Chris Murphy, there's Richard Blumenthal, and there's Ned Lamont. Now, Ned Lamont's involved up to his eyeballs in this case. So the FBI informant keeps calling Blumenthal and Lamont, complaining about me, saying I should be in a group home. Really? You should be in jail in Leavenworth. So here we go. We gave these documents, preliminary RF scanning detection, analogous RF emissions in the human body. Okay? That's just one. Okay? Sorry, I said okay a bunch of times. This is Sherry Mullinex's Eileen Spilka Cosmic Clarity Report of Eileen. Okay, different. Ready? That was Sherry. This is Spilka. Lower lumbar, right hamstring, right scapula, neck. Number 7, pubis region. Okay, go down to the bottom. What does it say? Jesse Beltran. Cool. Here's the fusion center information, and here's the preliminary RF scanning. Go back to the inbox. Sorry. What do we got? Automatics. What's it say? There's the FCC utilizing 5G enormous surveillance capability. This is from the FCC, folks. You got to read it all, unfortunately. And if you go back to the case, there are FOIA requests. There's denied, of course. Searches. Let's see what this says. Open. Here we go. This is going to tell you, after you input the frequency, who's paying for it. Open the file. Now, Sherry's report reveals that it's all news agencies. Mine reveals that it's the Marshal Service and Blumenthal staff. And the lady from Oklahoma came to Connecticut, and who took over her? Not her. This lady came to Connecticut from Oklahoma, and she was immediately surveilled. So it's clear to state that Richard Blumenthal is fucking with women's vaginas in the state of Connecticut because he's paying. His office is next to the office who's paying for it. And his informants invited themselves to my dad's birthday party today. So let's see what they have to say when I confront them. He's 90. It's an ADA violation, okay? They're not welcome. And I will post this, and we'll see if they watch it before they come to the party. Thanks for listening. I want it to be clear. Scans. The women were sitting in the courtroom. Her evaluation is right here. How it's calibrated, nonlinear junction test will tell you how many chips you have, what your frequencies are. You plug them into the website, and then you can decipher who's paying for the chip. These are federal grants, folks. So Blumenthal's using federal grants with Murphy to attack women's vaginas. Now, God forbid I identified as a woman and that they were attacking my vagina, because it seems to be perfectly legal, and they've got about 60 judges involved in this at this point. Judge Meyer's no longer with us, but Judge Oliver, who allowed it, was Assistant Attorney General under Blumenthal. Mark Kohler allowed it. He was Assistant Attorney General under Blumenthal. He became Secretary of State, and he went after the candidates that were speaking about the torture of the vaginas in the state of Connecticut. So now the state of Connecticut will be known as not only the pizza state. We are the pizza state after Pizzagate, which is alarming. They don't care. When Blumenthal was Attorney General for 10 years, 2006 to 2016, 0 prosecutions, 400 human trafficking arrests. So right now, and 0 prosecutions. So what I'm saying is Judge Ozales, Judge Lee are trafficking vagina torture, and they allow the chips from Richard Blumenthal's U.S. Attorney Marshal Service, okay, to get in my vagina, okay? They're in my vagina now, okay? My body, my choice. Isn't that what they say? My body, my choice. Get out of my vagina, okay? This is serious, not to be comical, but holy shit. Holy shit. Get out of my vagina. This is the last warning.